What is America to me?
In their own words, community leader and professor Mickey and Dick Flax take us on a unique journey.
We grew up, we call it red diaper babies. We were children of actual Communist Party members, both sets of parents.
We lived in a neighborhood where the Daily Worker sold more newspapers than the Daily News.
Through decades of a nation often at war within itself.
Both my parents lost their jobs in the New York school system because of this purge. 500 teachers eventually were kicked out or forced out or resigned in the period of those years of McCarthyism in the New York schools. One of the largest episodes of mass purging in the whole period of the Red Scare happened in those New York cases.
Survivors through some of the worst of McCarthyism in the 1950s.
With justice, we saw the United States as a very conservative society, so maybe there couldn't even be a decent left in this country anymore. That's maybe what we were thinking in those years.
Sustained by love, humor, and shared ideals.
Aha. We actually met, shall I tell it?
Yes, you remember that.
Right. We actually met in the office of the Camp Kindleton, where we were going to be working the summer of 1957. I was actually there to meet my oldest friend, Judy. She had been to the doctor. And I said, "What did the doctor say?" And she said, "Well, he said I had vernal catarrh." And there was this guy standing there who I'd never seen before, taller than most of our guys, with sort of blondish hair, if you can believe it, curly hair. And he said, "Oh, that sounds like a song." And I immediately picked up on what he was saying and started to air guitar. Oh, vernal catarrh. I love my vernal catarrh. Nobody else in the room knew what the hell we were talking about.
On every page, stories and insights of some of the most tumultuous decades in the history of the United States and the world.
There had been a whole lot of student protests at the University of Chicago, and I was one of the few faculty who were publicly very much supporting the demands that the students were making on the institution. And one day a guy calls me in my office and says he'd like to come interview me. He was able to attack me, hit me on the head, and cut my wrist. I think it was some kind of a hatchet that he used to attack me.
Piece of skull fell down onto his brain, causing injury to the fibers that control the left leg. So at first he was totally paralyzed, that leg, and he had to wear a brace and learn to walk again. He was in the hospital for a month, and the hand, as I said, never really recovered. It's usable for holding a pencil and writing.
Fully, yeah.
Yeah, he can.
No, I can't play.
Yeah.
Guitar, piano, tennis, but I didn't live for those things anyway. I'm not. But this was harder on Mickey than me by far, because we had a 1-year-old and a 4-year-old. Some of the doctors were stupidly telling her he may never walk again, that kind of thing. And yet
And the press was hounding me, and I didn't want to say the wrong thing, and it was difficult.
Co-founders of a new vision for the left.
We wish to create a society where ordinary people had a voice in the decisions that affect their lives. And to me, if that is lived out at every level, at every part of life, that's a good society.
Continuing to flourish as activists and promote recipes for making the world a better place. Making history, making Blintzes.
So we hope that people will not stop at the end of the 60s. And I can well imagine a reader saying, "Oh, great, I'll get back to this." We want them to keep going because we think we have a lot to say about the most recent half century. And that's important because that helps us build for the future.
And also, it shows, I think, or we tried to show, how what we had been doing in the social movements of the 60s translates into work in a local community like Santa Barbara. And I feel that it does, and readers might find it interesting to see how it does.
Making History, Making Blintzes. Available now from Rutgers University Press.
We agree on most important things and hardly any unimportant things.
That's not even true.